The Ordos Loop, Ordos Plateau or just Ordos is a region of China west of Beijing. It is enclosed by a large rectangular bend of the Yellow River. The North Ordos Desert is part of Inner Mongolia. The Great Wall of China cuts across the center, roughly separating the sparsely populated north, considered the Ordos proper. For the agricultural south, River Valley on the south is densely populated. The region had been occupied by humans since at least Upper Paleolithic. It was followed by the Joukai Gu Culture of the late Neolithic and Early Bronze Age and Ordos Culture of the Iron Age. The area is of high archaeological interest for its skeletal remains and artifacts. Geography. The Yellow River flows north-northeast, then east, and then south, forming three sides of an imperfect rectangle. The south side is formed by the River, which rises not far from the southwest corner and flows east to the southeast corner. Clockwise from the southwest corner, the sides of the rectangle are about 640, 320, 600, and 560 kilometers. At the southeast corner, the Yellow River turns east and finds its way through the mountains at the Hangzhou Pass onto the North China Plain. Rainfall and therefore population decreases rapidly as one moves north. The River Valley on the south is densely populated and is one of the ancient centers of Chinese civilization. The north is grassland and desert and is part of Inner Mongolia. The Great Wall of China cuts across the center, roughly separating the nomadic north from the agricultural south. The Ordos region proper is the area north of the wall. Although this rectangular area is obvious on a map, the north and south are so different that the region cannot be said to have a common history. To the south of the Valley are the high Qin Mountains, which separate it from the valley of the Han River, a tributary of the Yangtze River. Further south and somewhat west is the Sichuan Basin. To the east of the Luliang Mountains, which form the west side of the Shanxi Plateau. To the north and northwest are the grasslands of Inner Mongolia. The southwest corner merges into the Tibetan Plateau. An ancient tradition says that the Chinese people entered China by traveling down the River. By about 1000 BC, Chinese civilization was centered on the west side of the North China Plain, with an extension up the Valley and a northern extension up the Fen River. The lower Valley is still one of the most densely populated areas in China. Rulers based in the Valley had an advantage since the mountains to the east made a natural fortification and war horses were readily available. For the northern grasslands, the Zhou dynasty and the Qin dynasty started in the Valley. Xi'an on the lower Wei was several times the capital of China. By the Tang dynasty, the economic center of China had shifted to the Yangtze Valley, and the Wei region became partly dependent of food imported up the Grand Canal. To the north of the Valley is the Loess Plateau with its many gullies and cave houses. It is Loess from this region that makes the Yellow River yellow. Because of its low and variable rainfall, the region was once notorious for drought and famine. Underlying the Loess Plateau is one of the largest coal beds in China. North and west of the Loess Plateau, the grassland and desert belongs historically and culturally to Mongolia. Along the two rivers, at the southwest corner near where the Yellow River emerges from the Tibetan Plateau is Lanzhou, the westernmost large city in North China and the capital of Gansu. To the west of Lanzhou is Xining, from whence caravans started for Lhasa. North of Xining, the Gansu-Huxi corridor runs along the northern edge of the Tibetan Plateau. This corridor and the River Valley became the main Silk Road route from China proper to the Tarim Basin and westward. Downriver from Lanzhou is a gorge through Jilin County and Bei'an. The river emerges from the mountains and enters Ningxia near Zhongwei. It runs east with the Tengger Desert in Inner Mongolia to the north and hills to the south. It turns north through dry country to pass the Qingtongxia Dam to the irrigated area around Wuzhong City. It continues north past Yinchuan, the capital of Ningxia, to the west of the Helan Mountains. The river leaves the northern tip of Ningxia south of Wuhai, flows through desert and enters a large irrigated area at Dengkou. At the northwest corner, the Langshan Mountains force the river to turn east near Linhai. Here there is an irrigated area between the mountains and river and desert to the southeast. Near the center of the northern stretch is the large town and irrigated area of Beijing.It. The main road south runs from Beijing to Xian. About 70 miles northeast of the northeast bend is Hohhot, the capital of Inner Mongolia. The river turns south, enters the Loess Plateau and forms a gorge at least 200 feet below the surrounding hills. There are no large towns in this region. There is a dam apparently called Wanjia and another further south, and then the Hukou waterfall of the Yellow River, the second highest in China. The river leaves the gorge near Hancheng, receives the Fen River from the east and the Wei River from the west. At its juncture with the Wei, the Yellow River turns east toward the North China Plain. One can go upstream on the Wei with the Qin Mountains, with Mount Hua on the south past Huainan to Xian, a former capital of China and now a large city. West of Xian is Xinyang, the Qin dynasty capital. The river exits the mountains west of Baoji. There is a dam. The river narrows and becomes yellow, and the railroad needs many bridges and tunnels all the way to Tianzhu. Upstream, various tributaries extend in the direction of Lanzhou. History. The region had been occupied by humans since at least Upper Paleolithic, when the culture may be known as the Ordosian culture. The Ordosian culture, also sometimes called the Ordos culture, is documented from the Upper Paleolithic. The points and sides of the tools indicate a master of Aloysian element. They seem to have a masterful knowledge of Upper Paleolithic technology, producing blades as much as 15 centimeters long. The Ordosian culture was followed by the Joukai Gu culture of the late Neolithic and early Bronze Age. While the Joukai Gu culture population appears to have been predominantly Mongoloid, as known from the skeletal remains and artifacts, the Ordos culture is thought to have been the most eastern extension of Eurasian nomads, and at least partly of Europoid peoples. Under the Qin and Han dynasties, the area came under at least loose Chinese control. The Joukai Gu culture is one of the Neolithic cultures at Ordos, dated between 2200 and 1500 BCE. It is associated with about 327 burials, with recent maternal genetic evidence showing that they were related to the remains from Yin-Ugu, as well as modern populations like Dors and Evenks. The archaeological finds at the site are similar to those of the Lower Qianjian culture. These finds are important as they are associated with the development of snake pattern designs on the decoration of weapon and animal depicting artifacts, which later would become a characteristic style of the Ordos. The skeletal remains at Taongbala tomb, dated to between the 7th and 6th centuries BCE, are generally identified as belonging to the Xiongnu bronze culture and show strong Mongoloid features. A similar type of burial at Hulasi around Bayan, uncovered in 1979 and dated to between the 5th and 4th centuries BCE, is considered the only Xiongnu site along the northern slope of Yanshan. The site consisted of mainly bronze artifacts and pottery and 27 horse skeletal remains. Further excavation in 1983 at Guozhanyirosi uncovered a total of 31 burials dated to the 6th to 5th century BCE, revealing strong North Mongoloid features. These generally decrease towards the south, and skeletal remains of East and North Mongoloid type can be seen from finds in Maochinga and Yinyu dated to around the 7th century BCE, amounting to a total of 117 burials. Many bronze weapons of these cultures are similar to those of Chinese style. Depictions of the Ordos people tend to show straight hair. This is especially true of archaeological finds from Beijing.It, Zihaokou, Lower Wuchuhao, and Mengjialang. Horse nomads occupied the area of the Ordos Plateau previously settled by the Joukai Gu Culture from the 6th to the 2nd century BCE, creating the Ordos culture before being driven away by the Xiongnu. The Ordos Plateau contained the best pasture lands on the Asian steppe. The Ordos are mainly known from the skeletal remains and artifacts. The Ordos culture of about 500 BCE to 100 CE is known for its Ordos bronzes, blade weapons, finials for tent poles, horse gear, and small plaques and fittings for clothes and horse harness, using animal-style decoration with relationships both with the Scythian art of regions much further west and also Chinese art. Its relationship with the Xiongnu was controversial. For some scholars they are the same, and for others different. Many buried metal artifacts have emerged on the surface of the land as a result of the progressive desertification of the region. According to Yaroslav Lebedinsky, they are thought to be the easternmost people of Scythian affinity to have settled here, just to the east of the better-known Uasia, because the people represented in archaeological finds tend to display Europoid features, also earlier noted by Otto J. Malyank and Helfin. Lebedinsky suggests the Ordos to be of Scythian affinity. The weapons, found in tombs throughout the steppes of the Ordos, are very close to those of the Scythians, known on the Asian steppe as sakas. The Ordos were in contact and often at war with the pre-Han and Han populations of the period. The former territory is now located just north of the Great Wall of China and on the south bank of the northernmost hook of the Yellow River. The western neighbors of Ordos may have been identical with the Uasia who, after being vanquished by the Xiongnu, migrated to southern Asia to form the Kushan Empire. They were also culturally related to another nomadic tribe to the east, the Eastern who shared a similar art of the steppes, but appear to have been Mongoloids. They may also have been related to the Dai people of Chinese annals. In Chinese accounts, the Xiongnu first appear at Ordos in the Yizhou and Shanhaijing during the Warring States period before it was occupied by Qin and Zhao. It is generally thought to be the homeland. However, when exactly they came to occupy the region is unclear, and it might have been much earlier than traditionally thought, as suggested by archaeological finds. As the Xiongnu expanded southward into Uasia territory around 160 BCE under the leader Moden, the Uasia in turn defeated the Sakas and pushed them away at the Issyk-Kul. It is thought the Xiongnu also occupied the Ordos area during the same period when they came in direct contact with the Chinese. For that, the Xiongnu conducted numerous devastating raids into Chinese territory. The Han dynasty started to fight the Xiongnu in the 2nd century BCE under Emperor Han Wudi, and colonized the area of the Ordos under Shuofang commandery in 127 BCE. Prior to the campaign, there were already commanderies established earlier by Qin and Zhao until they were overrun by the Xiongnu in 209 BCE.